So today I want to compare just several legacy lenses, comparing their sizes actually. They're all around 50mm, which makes for Micro Four Thirds very good portrait lenses. And the only equivalent lens that I can show you from Micro Four Thirds that's native is the kit lens. That is the 14 to 42 millimeters. Sorry, so it's slightly comparable to all of these, yeah. But it's a zoom, and of course it looks very different. So basically, this is the size of the zoom when it is at 42 millimeters. And each of these lenses, although they're 20 to 40 years old, they're all sharper, a lot sharper than what this kit lens is. And obviously they're also a lot faster. The kit lens has the widest aperture at, what is it, 3.5. But of course at the long end it's 5.6, so it's a very slow lens. So it's slow in terms of you need a lot of light, high ISO when you're filming indoors, and you have a relatively wide depth of field. All of these lenses are very fast. The slowest lenses that I've got here in this collection are 1.8, so that is from 1.8, that's roughly 3 to 4 f-stops faster than this, yeah. So instead of using ISO 3200, you can use ISO 400 indoors, or 200s even. And of course the depth of field control is very, very different, so the subject isolation is very different. Now you might say legacy lenses should be bigger, larger, because they were designed for bigger sensors. That is actually not the case. I'll show you the biggest one in this collection, yeah, which is a Canon FD 50mm f1.4, a so-called breech lock lens. It's an absolutely lovely lens to use, yeah. It's really fun because it's very, very easy to focus, and you know, wide open, it's sharp, and it has this really hefty, nice feeling to it, and you actually don't mind paying the extra for it. I can't show you how the aperture works because for that you need to pop in an adapter, and I might just do that later. Yeah, Canon is a bit overcomplicated with that, so you need an adapter to actually work the aperture, but it's a lovely lens. And in terms of image quality, absolutely the same, identical, is another Canon lens, the non-breech lock FD lens, sorry. And you can see the size difference. Yeah, these are really different size lenses. The diameter is different, the filter diameter is different. This lens is a lot bigger. This lens keeps the optical quality, it's about, you know, maybe 10 years younger. Has literally the same optical quality, although there's some differences in its light gathering capability, and I might show that later in the video and compare the two. But this is the size difference that you get. Yeah. Another comparable lens to this, absolutely comparable in terms of shallow depth of field and control, is the Olympus lens. A lovely crafted little lens, and it's tiny compared to the Canon lens. It's absolutely tiny. So of course for Micro Four Thirds, size does matter to some people, and this of course would make a very nice lens for Micro Four Thirds, in particular if you have an Olympus Micro Four Thirds camera. And look at the size difference. Now we can compare the optical qualities of these lenses a bit later. That's just the size difference, but that is by no means the smallest of this collection, yeah. We've got here a Pancake lens from Nikon, also 50mm. Opens f1.8, so it's not f1.4, but still very, very wide. And that is the smallest lens in this collection. Look at it. That rivals in size the small Pancake lenses that are native to Micro Four Thirds. So legacy lenses can really be very short, so you can take this with you. You've got a wide open, clear and very good portrait lens. Doesn't add much to the size of Micro Four Thirds, yeah. Lovely. Now the other lenses that I've got here is an Olympus 1.8. It's roughly the same size as the Olympus 1.4, although the 1.4 is heavier. It's heavier build quality. You can feel it in your hand, it's heavier. Very, very comparable in size. The f1.4 is a bit bigger. You know, the glass needs to be a bit bigger, and to make sure that even in the edges that the light is transmitted very, very well. And here's the infamous Minolta from the first video with its insect in. Yeah, Minolta. And there's another one that has no insect in. Lovely lenses, very sharp, absolutely comparable, and also absolutely comparable in size to the Canon lenses. In fact, a lot smaller. They're a lot smaller, yeah. And I've got a Minolta f1.4 here somewhere as well. Just a second. Yeah, it gets a bit confusing with all those lenses. Yep, there we go. The Minolta f1.4. Again, it's a lot heavier than the Minolta f1.7. It doesn't seem to be bigger, it doesn't look bigger, but it is heftier. It is definitely heftier, and usually the f1.4 have a larger diameter, and you know, the size is a bit bigger, but no comparison to the Canon. Look at the size of the Canon. Yeah, that's really the monster here, and it's not that much better if at all optically, but we can compare that later. And the smaller Canon, the non-breach FD, is here. And again, you can see those lenses in size, very comparable. Yeah. Now compare this to the native Lumix lens. That's it, but the Lumix lens weighs half maybe that one of these lenses weighs. So it's really lightweight build, all plasticky, and it feels also plasticky, of course. So the closest that Micro Four Thirds would come to these lenses, of course, is the 45mm Olympus lens, which I don't have. Far too expensive, cost about £300, £250, $350, something like this. And none of these lenses has to hide behind this. So these lenses are even faster than the native Micro Four Thirds lens. So this was our little size comparison of these different lenses, and just to show that actually legacy lenses can actually be very powerful and very small and still fit very good with the spirit of Micro Four Thirds. Obviously, you can't put this lens straight on your Micro Four Thirds camera. You need an adapter, and this is of course this is the size of such an adapter. This is a Canon adapter, so that adds to the size of the lens roughly. This is what you get. Yeah, it doesn't fit here, it's not a Nikon adapter, but this is roughly what you end up with, and that is in size very comparable to the 45mm offerings from Olympus, and in optical quality it's very comparable as well, just not in price. This cost maybe £12, whatever, and this is to be had maybe for 50, depending on you know how good a deal you get. Nowhere near the £300. And of course you miss any optical image stabilization, which is inbuilt in this lens, and will make sure that this lens will not last 40 years because it will fail. And obviously you also lack autofocus. So these are manual focus, but they focus like a dream. The feel for that is very nice, so that makes them very usable. Yeah, and you can see for filmmaking, for instance, you know, the optical it's very easy to adjust, and there's no such thing as focus hunting. You know, you can regulate it all yourself. This is why, of course, filmmakers prefer these manual lenses. So that's enough for today. Thanks for your attention.